Number 15, Mandrak. What if the universe's first explorer came back as a cosmic vampire with a taste for stories? Well, that's Mandrak, once known as Drax Novu, the bright-eyed monitor who was supposed to chart the multiverse. He set out across the bleed, which is basically the glowing lifeblood between worlds, only to be twisted by the very narrative energy he was meant to study. The result is a fallen scout, who looks at creation and decides it'd be way more fun to drink it dry. Mandrak doesn't throw punches so much as rewrite existence. He feeds on belief, infects other monitors, and drains entire realities like they're juice boxes. On top of that, he operates in places most heroes can't even imagine. From the overvoid to nil, the blank space is outside all stories. What makes it even worse is that when you think he's gone, the idea of Mandrak can slide into someone else. Roxogama later picks up the mantle just to keep the nightmare going. His headline act comes in Final Crisis, Superman Beyond, where he clashes with the Thought Robot, a Superman-powered suit of pure story. It's a battle fought on the page, and above it, ending with Mandrak pushed out of creation. He's hunger personified, the villain who literally eats the plot. Number 14, Cosmic Armor Superman. Imagine Superman stepping out of the comic and putting on a suit made of pure story. That's basically the vibe of Cosmic Armor Superman, better known as the Thought Robot, which is a glowing multiversal tank built by the monitors when the entire DC narrative was on the chopping block. It isn't some clunky mech with a cape. It's a living idea designed to fight a threat that eats fiction itself. Grant Morrison drops the cosmic curveball in Final Crisis, Superman Beyond. And that's as wild as it sounds. To power the thing, Superman teams up with his evil counterpart, Ultraman, fusing their archetypal essences to spark the ultimate defense system. On top of that, the Thought Robot doesn't just punch harder than anything else, it adapts to any threat as the story demands. Its body is literally made of thought, existing out the overvoid, which is a white space beyond time, where stories are born. What makes it even crazier is that it fights by rewriting the narrative itself. As mentioned in the previous entry, his headline feat was facing Mandrak, the Dark Monitor, which is a predator that devours entire realities, and winning out by out-narrating him. Cosmic Armor Superman isn't just strong. He's the embodiment of plot armor, fiction's final failsafe. Number 13, the unkindness. What happens when the calm, brooding empath of the Teen Titans decides the only way to save the world is to swallow the end of it? You get the unkindness. Raven, in a timeline gone completely sideways. In DC's future state Teen Titans, Rachel Roth tries to contain the four horsemen of the apocalypse by pulling them into herself, and on top of that, she lets their power stay there. As you would have imagined, the plan works out about as well as storing nitroglycerin in your backpack. Once the horsemen settle in, Raven stops being the team's quiet conscience and turns into an apocalyptic engine. She survives being locked inside the Rock of Eternity like it's just another gloomy weekend. And what makes it even worse is her later deal with the demon lord Neron. That bargaining lets her snag Shazam's magic and crank her power to God tier. By the end of Future State Shazam number 2, she's not a hero wrestling with darkness. She is the darkness, ready to eat the multiverse if someone looks at her the wrong way. The unkindness isn't a permanent part of main DC continuity, but as a possible future, it shows exactly how scary Raven can be when every line she swore never to cross finally snaps. Number 12, Pralaya. Imagine a cosmic goddess whose whole vibe is pressing the delete key on existence. That's Pralaya, the goddess of nothingness, introduced in Justice League Dark number 39. J.M. DeMatteis pulls her straight from Hindu cosmology, where Pralaya is the deep sleep of Brahma, the quiet void that waits before creation and after the end. She isn't cackling or twirling a mustache. She is the end, dressed in calm inevitability. Pralaya doesn't fling fireballs. Her power is the slow erasure of everything. She speeds up time's collapse, sends eerie thought forms to shred the time stream, and drags the League into the frozen heart of Kronos so they can watch the universe wink it out. On top of that, entire realities begin folding in on themselves while Zatanna, Constantine, and the House of Mystery cling to what little remains. And just like that, the whole swaths of existence have already slipped into silence. What makes it even worse is that you can't fight her the way you fight a villain. Pralaya is absence itself, the quiet certainty that every story ends. The heroes scramble for a workaround, but she doesn't rage or gloat, she simply keeps erasing. When the universe finally exhales, it's her breath that finishes the job. Number 11, God-formed Swamp Thing. Ever wondered what would happen if the planet itself decided to grow legs and speak? Well, that's Swamp Thing at his god-tier peak. Alec Holland might have been a scientist once, but Alan Moore's legendary run revealed the big twist. This isn't a man stuck in a monster, it's the Green, the living force of all plant life, wearing a body made of vines and memory. When he taps the full power of the Green, Swamp Thing turns into nature's ultimate avatar. He can slide through every root and leaf on Earth in an instant, rebuilds forests or wipes them clean, and sculpt a new body anywhere there's a sprout of moss. On top of that, he's walked through time and cosmic space, holding conversations with alien flora and the Parliament of Trees, the ancient minds that guide the Green's will. What makes it even crazier is that he rarely wants a fight. He's patient, almost reluctant, but when pushed, he's a planetary scale force. From reshaping ecosystems to standing against the pre-creation Great Darkness in Saga of the Swamp Thing number 50, this isn't a swamp monster anymore. It's Earth itself, and it has opinions. Number 10, Sinar the Demiurge. What do you do when the guy who helped design reality itself decides he's over it? You get Sinar the Demiurge, a towering red-skinned troublemaker who shows up like a cosmic landlord, ready to evict entire galaxies. First spotted in the late 90s hardcore station run, Sinar walks and talks like a myth, part fallen god, part frustrated architect, and absolutely done with following anyone's blueprints but his own. Sinar isn't the type trade punches with capes. He rewires minds, nudges whole civilizations into chaos, and comes back every time you think the story's over. During Ron Thanagar Holy War, he casually bends ancient rivalries to his plan, then caps it off as the final headache in Strange Avengers number 8. On top of that, he keeps an aberrant 6, which is basically a hand-picked squad of wildcards, to move pieces across the board while he works on the bigger game. What makes it even worse is that beating him never sticks. He's less a villain you can lock up and more a design flaw in the universe itself. Heroes like Hawkman or Adam Strange can throw everything at him, but Sinar's talent is rewriting the rules until the cosmos starts to look exactly the way he wants, again and again. Number 9, The Endless. Meet the most dysfunctional family in all of comics. 7 siblings who aren't people at all, but living ideas older than every god you've ever heard of. They're called the Endless, and each one is the walking embodiment of a concept the universe can't run without. Destiny carries a book that records everything that ever happens. Death greets every soul with a kind smile. Dream, or Morpheus if you're formal, rules the realm of stories and sleep while nursing a world-class brooding habit. On top of that, there's Destruction, the brother who walked off the job because he's decided change didn't need his micromanagement. Desire is a gleeful shapeshifter who meddles in the hearts of just to watch the chaos. Despair is their quiet, sharp-fingered twin whispering hopeless thoughts in the dark. And then there's Delirium, once called Delight, who speaks in sideways poetry and sees truths no one else can touch. Their powers match their names. They don't just influence reality, they are its operating system. From the first Sandman arc to the sweeping brief lives, they fight, scheme, reconcile, and occasionally learn. What makes it even stranger is how human they feel while being anything but. The Endless aren't myths, they're the reason myths exist at all. Number 8, Michael Demiurgos. Imagine an angel who carries the spark of creation itself like it's a pocket lighter. That's Michael Demiurgos, the quiet powerhouse of DC's comic family, who's basically the engine that lets reality exist. Michael isn't about flashy rebellion or devilish quips. He's the one heaven trusts to keep everything running. The vessel for the demiurgic power, the raw creative force of the presence. With that spark, he could shape entire universes out of nothing, hold cosmic order together, and, when pressed, blast black angelic armies like they're dust motes. On top of that, he led Heaven's side during the Great Rebellion, a battle fought on a scale that makes supernovas look like party favors. What makes it even crazier is how dangerous that gift becomes when Michael is wounded. In The Wolf Beneath the Tree arc, a mortal injury threatens to spill his power everywhere, a burst big enough to rewrite or erase creation. Michael isn't a warrior looking for glory. He's a walking Big Bang who'd rather keep the universe stable than show off. Number 7, Lucifer Morningstar. What happens when the devil decides he's over the whole hell thing? Well, that's Lucifer Morningstar, a dazzling fallen angel who'd rather sip wine and play piano than manage eternal damnation, and also the brother of Michael Demiurgos, who pretty much ties him in strength. That's why they're right next to each other in this ranking. He first shows up in The Sandman number 4, trading dry banter with Dream, and steals the spotlight during the Seasons of Mists arc by handing Dream the keys to hell and walking away like it's just another Tuesday. Lucifer isn't about pitchforks or cheap scares. He's a former archangel with reality warping powers so vast it barely needs a name, but his greatest weapon is sheer will. He refuses every role God writes for him: devil, rebel, even dutiful son. After leaving hell, he opens the sleek piano bar Lux, where cosmic politics and smooth jazz share the same smoky air. On top of that, he starts plotting adventures that stretch beyond creation itself, crafting new universes and outmaneuvering divine schemes. What makes it even better is his exit strategy. In the final issue of Mike Carey's Lucifer, he shrugs off every last offer of reconciliation and simply walks out of existence, heading into the endless void. No throne, no chains, just pure freedom. Aaron Yeager would be proud. Lucifer's greatest miracle is staying true to himself, even when the cosmos begs otherwise. Number 6, Elaine Belloc. Imagine being a London schoolgirl who could chat with ghosts, then finding out you're next in line to run the entire universe. Well, that's Elaine Belloc's life and Mike Carey's Lucifer. She starts out tracking the murder of her friend Mona, only to discover she's the half-angel daughter of Michael Demiurgos, the guy we just talked about earlier. From that moment, fate and a sly guiding hand of Lucifer begins nudging her toward a job description no teenager should ever see. Elaine's early days are simple enough: a little spirit side here, a bit of a cult there, usual paranormal stuff. But during the Wolf Beneath the Tree arc, Michael is fatally wounded and his demiurgic power, basically the blueprint of creation itself, passes to her. Now, she suddenly holds the raw energy that built the cosmos. She barely has time to figure it out before reality starts depending on her choices. With Lucifer's mentorship, Elaine learns to forge a new universe, then blends it with the old one. What makes it even wilder is her final decision. Instead of ruling from a golden throne, she dissolves into her creation, becoming the presence itself. No crown, no choir of angels, just the quiet power of someone who literally is the world she saved. Number 5, The Source. Imagine a cosmic power so massive, it doesn't bother with faces or speeches. It just is. That's The Source, Jack Kirby's ultimate origin point for DC's fourth world. First revealed in New Gods number 1 back in 1971, it sits beyond the universe like a silent ocean of creation, with the legendary Source Wall marking the absolute edge of everything. Anyone bold enough to cross that wall ends up frozen and trapped. So yeah, don't get too close. The Source isn't some caped deity handing out pep talks. It's the wellspring of the God Wave, the raw blast of energy that forged the old and new gods and kickstarted entire realities. On top of that, it quietly nudges the biggest DC events. During Death of the New Gods, it sends an agent to prune the imperfect fourth world, paving the way for a mysterious fifth. What makes it even wilder is how those moves flow straight into Final Crisis, where multiversal stakes get rewritten under its unseen guidance. You can't bargain with the source or punch it into submission. It's the blank page behind Kirby's cosmic epic, the spark every god owes their existence to, and the final horizon no hero ever truly passes. Number 4, the Great Darkness. Before there was light, before there was even the idea of a universe, there was the Great Darkness, a bottomless void so old it makes eternity look young. Alan Moore brought this nightmare to DC in his legendary Swamp Thing run, painting it less like a monster and more like a living black hole of pure malice. When the presence spoke creation into being, the darkness slunk away, waiting for its moment to creep back. That moment finally arrives in the American Gothic saga, where the darkness stretches across every spiritual realm like an endless shadow. It isn't throwing punches or zapping lightning. It's the root of every evil impulse and emptiness that wants the cosmos to collapse back into nothing. Swamp Thing and a lineup of mystics head to the edge of existence to face it, and the showdown isn't a fist fight. It's words, resolve, and the stubborn will to life itself that holds the darkness back. What makes it even worse is how later stories reveal the void never really left. Modern DC books like Justice League Incarnate show the Great Darkness quietly pulling strings behind multiverse-shaking disasters. It isn't a villain you defeat. It's the abyss that keeps waiting for the lights to dim. Number 3, the Presence. Imagine the biggest boss of all creation quietly running the DC universe from the background. That's the Presence, DC's version of the one and only God. He first shows up back in More Fun Comics number 52 as a booming unseen voice giving Jim Corrigan the green light to become the Spectre. From there, he lingers across decades of stories, rarely stepping into the spotlight yet shaping everything from heaven's politics to cosmic balance. The Presence isn't a Caped Crusader or a flashy villain. He's the engine keeping every universe spinning, the author of all existence. He creates reality itself, hands out power to heavy hitters like the Spectre or Michael Demiurgos, and can yank it back without breaking a sweat. On top of that, he casually resurrects beings and sets the rules angels live by. When Asmodel and other rebels try an angelic coup, their revolt only highlights how untouchable he really is. What makes it even wilder is his decision to step away entirely in Mike Carey's Lucifer. By the end, he transfers creation's keys to Elaine Belloc, proving he doesn't need to stick around to stay supreme. He may not be seen most of the time, but in DC lore, the Presence is the quiet heartbeat of everything. Number 2, Primal Monitor. Imagine a cosmic art studio so huge that entire universes are nothing more than doodles on its sketchpad. That's the Primal Monitor, also called the Overvoid or Overmonitor. Being so abstract, it's basically the blank white page behind every DC comic. Grant Morrison introduced this mind-bending idea in Final Crisis, Superman Beyond, turning the multiverse into a painting, and the Primal Monitor into the endless canvas that holds it all. This isn't a character with a cool costume or a tragic backstory. It's the infinite background itself, a silent space where stories live and die. The monitors we usually see, like the Monitor and Anti-Monitor, Morrison recasts them as tiny probes poking out from this endless void, trying to understand the worlds they're hosting. On top of that, the Primal Monitor can erase entire realities by wiping chalk off a board. When Mandrak, the Dark Monitor, falls into it, he doesn't just lose a fight, he's swallowed by pure nothing. A fate only possible when the battlefield is the concept of fiction itself. What makes it even wilder is that this character isn't really a person at all. It's the idea of story space given a name. In short, the Primal Monitor doesn't rule the multiverse, it is the space of multiverse is drawn on. By the way, before we drop the number 1, we've got 2 honorable mentions that almost crashed the party at the very top. Honorable mention number 1, Tom Taylor. Imagine waking up one day to find out you're basically fan fiction that became a person. Well, that's Tom Taylor, star of Mike Carey and Peter Gross's The Unwritten. I'm putting him in honorable mention territory because plenty of readers argue this Vertigo series sits just outside the official DC universe, but the ride is too wild to skip. Tom starts off as a washed-up convention guest, famous only because his dad wrote a Harry Potter-style saga about a boy wizard named, wait for it, Tommy Taylor. Then reality starts cracking. Conspiracies crawl out of the woodwork, story magic leaks into the world, and Tom discovers he's more than a namesake. He's a living pressure point where fiction and reality overlap. As the series builds, Tom's powers scale up fast. He can summon and twist the energy of stories themselves, pulling entire myths into battle. In the Leviathan arc, he dives into a whole whale made of narrative to face the force that feeds on every other tale ever told. Later, the War of Words, he bends narrative like a general commanding armies of belief. And what makes it even crazier is he's still that awkward guy from issue number 1. Just one who can rewrite the world with a sentence. Honorable mention number 2, the Unwritten Leviathan. Ever met a whale that eats stories for breakfast? That's the Leviathan, also from Mike Carey and Peter Gross's The Unwritten, a creature so big it swims through the ocean of fiction itself. For the same reason as Tom Taylor, I'm calling this an honorable mention because some fans debate whether Vertigo's titles like this truly sit inside DC continuity. Otherwise, both Tom and the Leviathan could easily top of the list at number 1. The Leviathan isn't just a giant fish. It's a living engine of narrative. When Tom Taylor goes hunting for the root of his family's strange book-shaping magic, he ends up inside this massive cosmic whale. On top of that, the place is less an animal and more a library of every story ever told, digesting and remixing tales like some literary black hole. Across issues number 19 to 24, Tom's confrontation with the Beast reveals that his own reality-warping gifts are tied to the shared symbols of storytelling. The Moby Dick echoes, the endless hunger of meaning, the way myths feed each other. What makes it even weirder is how calm the Leviathan feels. It doesn't roar or fight. It simply exists, swallowing plot lines like krill. Whether you call it DC canon or not, the Leviathan remains a perfect metaphor for stories that never stop eating themselves. Number 1, the writer. What do you do when the villain behind your family's death turns out to be the person holding the pen? That's the nightmare Buddy Baker faces when he meets the writer. Grant Morrison's own cameo as the literal author inside Animal Man. After Buddy's wife and kids are murdered to kick the story into high gear, he's yanked into comic book limbo, introduced to the calm Scottish guy who's been pulling every cruel string. The writer doesn't throw punches or shoot lasers. His weapon is the script itself. He opens panels like doors, shows Buddy the pages of his life, and flat out admits he wrote the tragedy for realism. On top of that, he defends it with a straight face, explaining that pain makes heroes feel alive to readers. Buddy has to wrestle with the fact that he's ink on paper, while his tormentor is the hand that draws him. That's a hard pill to swallow. What makes it even stranger is how the writer finishes the tale. After all that heartbreak, Morrison quietly resets Buddy's world, undoing the worst losses as the story closes. It's a fourth wall shattering finale. The author steps on stage, breaks his toy, then fixes it because in this corner of the DC universe, storytelling itself is the ultimate superpower. That's it for this one. If you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and ring the bell so you never miss a drop. Craving more stories from comics, movies, and beyond? Then check out this video right here. Cheers and see you in the next one.